Welcome to the Voice of St. Anthony Parish from Allston, Massachusetts, right here on WROL, 950 AM, 100.3 FM, and you can also hear us at CatholicAudiomedia.com. As CatholicAudiomedia.com, we're going to continue today and tomorrow our conversation with Colin Miller, who is the author of the book, We Are Only Saved Together, Living the Revolutionary Vision of Dorothy Day and the Catholic Worker Movement. Brand new from Ave Maria Press, and you can get it at your local Catholic bookstore or any of the online bookstores as well, and probably other bookstores as well. I actually believe I bought this one at St. Joseph's Abbey Bookstore, which is out in Spencer, Massachusetts. So as we continue our discussion, we're talking about two things: certification and networks from education. So that's how we enter into this conversation, talking about those people who have these great talents but don't have those two things. So let's switch over to the second part of our interview right now. And then you have these people who are excellent at what they do, but they don't have those two things. Yeah. And you have to find them. And if you find them, you find a treasure.
Yeah, that's it. And if you can find people that will look past the need for credentialing, then these people can have a shot.
They really can, and actually maybe outshine some of the people who do have the credentialing because of the fact that they're working on a model that's become conventional, and they're non-conventional.
No, that's it. And I think sometimes conventional education can actually stunt genius. And so I've met in my time.
Wow.
Lots of folks. I have a couple of them actually right now who I think are just super, super bright individuals and fit nowhere on the conventional, spectrum in terms of education. And that's fine. I think that I don't want them to go and go through a process of stunting themselves. I'm happy for them to continue in their own path.
It's interesting you say that, because I am surrounded by Harvard University.
Oh, is that right? Okay,
now. Yeah. As a matter of fact, Harvard. Everyone knows Harvard's in Cambridge, Massachusetts, on the other side of the Charles River. But it's also in Boston, and I'm on the Boston side, which is where the business school is.
Right.
So it's fascinating, because I'm always talking to people about different ideas of faith and everything, and I always bring out that, by the way, I'm surrounded by Harvard University.
No, that's there's lots of great things about formal education, and I owe my life in many ways to formal education, but it definitely has its problems and its limitations.
I got to tell you, something happened the other day at our Dorothy Day Faith Forum. I brought out what you have in the book is your list of the things what the Catholic worker believes.
Yeah.
From Peter Morin, and one of the guys in the group is. He's a community organizer, and he basically considers himself a socialist, or at least very strongly leaning that way. So, of course, one of the things that he believes is the establishes of farming communes where each one works according to his ability and gets according to his need. And the minute he saw that, he looked right at me and went, wait. And I said, yes, that's true.
That's right.
Now, one of the things you talk about, especially in the latter part of the book, is building the houses of hospitality, which you said originally started with Dorothy and Peter, but they didn't plan it out. It just basically happened.
Yeah, that's right. So they were doing their newspaper thing, and that was what the Catholic Worker at first, when you said Catholic Worker, that's what you meant, a newspaper. And they started talking about Peter's other ideas, which were farming communes and houses of hospitality. Peter wanted houses of hospitality to spread across the country as a response to the homelessness and plight of people in the Great Depression. Not unlike our streets in cities, at least the cities where I live, you saw the homeless and poor just about on every corner. And so Peter thought, I think it's just as relevant today as it was then. Peter thought, well, look, we're the church. What if every parish got a house of hospitality, and as part of their Catholic, simply Catholic identity, provided as much room and food for people who needed it. And it didn't take at the parish level, but and so they were writing about this idea in the paper, to get back to your original point, and people started showing up on the at the little office space that they were renting, and said, okay, you're talking about these big ideas, where's your hospitality house? And so they said, well, I guess you have morally cornered us here. And so they turned the office space into the first makeshift fly by the seat of your pants hospitality house. And people started doing the same thing, hardly ever in connected with parishes, but almost all, sort of lay initiative, and people that said, hey, that's a great idea, I'm going to do that too.
I had an interesting experience when I was at a parish up in the Merrimack region. And there was a homeless guy who was, always roaming around. And when I ended up being pastor, we had this huge porch. I mean, huge. It was open. It wasn't sealed in, but it was a huge porch. And, he would come and he'd sleep on the porch. And I'm like, well, no one's using it. I really don't care. Right? So he's using the porch. But what fascinated me is the people who would call me up or come to my, you got a homeless guy sleeping on your porch? Yeah, I do. And it would happen over and over and over again, because it was clearly something people were not used to.
Right. And what if, the church has an image problem, no doubt. And, but what if the church became, at the end of the book, I talk about, we need to change our aesthetic. And maybe that's a little bit too of an academic word, but like when people think of the church, they have to, we have to live in such a way that people think of homeless people sleeping on rectory porches. What if that's what people thought of when they thought of the Catholic Church, and not whatever they think of, whatever they think of now. So I think this idea of Peter's, and which is just grounded in the gospel, right? It's not a Catholic work. It's not a Catholic worker thing. It's a Christian thing. What if this thing became more a part of the church's lived experience and their image, and we became less worried about insurance policies and safety and things like that? I think that's the only way, as I sort of talk about in the book, that's the only way forward. That's the only way for the church to regain credibility with all of its image problems and stuff like that, is to start just actually living the gospel.
One of the things that happened, it's funny you mentioned it that way, because I knew that if I allowed this guy to use the bathroom inside the rectory, the media would go bananas. Homeless guy uses bathroom in rectory. So I couldn't allow that. And then they'd start with insurance and all the other stuff. So I couldn't allow that. And what happened was he ended up using the bushes, which I guess probably at night, which presented a problem. And we had to, find another solution there. But his brother also would pop up, and he had an infection on his head that was this bright, he was a black man, so this bright yellow infection on his head that was and I'm like, this is pretty serious. You've got to get to a hospital, and he would be like, no. And the police would come by and they would say, there is nothing you can do, because he will get to the hospital, say, I want out, and you have to let him go. And finally, I had to explain to him, I says, you got to understand, this is really serious. It's a serious infection, could land you with encephalitis or something like that, or meningitis. What am I saying? You've got to get this healed. And eventually, he ended up. I think he was committed for the help for that to that healed. Mm-hmm. And people don't realize these are the real issues that are out there. They're real people who deal with real issues, but no one sees them. That they says, "No, he's homeless. Gotta get rid of him."
Yeah. We're all going on to our next thing. We're all super busy. And we just don't think of the church as, we are so ingrained into an institutionalized mindset rather than a personalist mindset where the person that I come upon, my neighbor, as the gospel calls us to, is the person that I am called to, rather than I come across someone on the side of the road flying a sign, or someone shows up on my porch with a meningitis infection, and that automatically is for some agency or institution or professional to deal with. That's you're never gonna, if we approach the world from that perspective, we're never going to get around to practicing the gospel.
Absolutely. We're going to talk more with Colin Miller tomorrow as we continue our discussion of his book, We Are Only Saved Together, Living the Revolutionary Vision of Dorothy Day and the Catholic Worker Movement, coming to us from Ave Maria Press, published in August. And you can find this at your Catholic bookstore or any of your online bookstores. Just look for this. And We Are Only Saved Together, Living the Revolutionary Vision of Dorothy Day and the Catholic Worker Movement by Colin Miller. We'll be back tomorrow. Have a blessed day. I want to call your attention to Catholic TV, which offers great faith-filled, family-friendly programming 24 hours a day. You can find your cable channel at www.getcatholictv.com, and you can watch online on the free apps or check out the YouTube channel. Daily Mass, Rosaries, the Divine Mercy Chaplet, and the Our Lady of Perpetual Help Novena are all available online and on demand. Check out catholictv.com. If you're searching for a meaningful spiritual experience, look no further than St. Anthony's Parish in Allston, Massachusetts. Join us at 43 Holton Street in between Soldiers Field Road and the Mass Pike. Immerse yourself in the complete St. Anthony's Parish encounter through our 10 o'clock a.m. chanted Mass. Whether you're a Catholic seeking a parish to call home or someone looking for spiritual guidance, our welcoming community is here for you. Visit our website at www.stanthonyalston.org for more information. St. Anthony's Parish, where faith finds a home.